So coming to general, that is introduction of microwave network analysis. So what is actually a microwave network is, you will have microwave devices and components. What are microwave devices and components are? That is your sources, which are input, attenuators. What is an attenuator? What do you mean by attenuator? So attenuator is something which will, is it related something to power at least?
It decreases the
decreases the power level. Or it is a device usually which will consist of your resistors, which will reduce the strength of the signal. So that is what is an attenuator is. Then you will be having a resonator with respect to the frequency, filters, amplifiers. So all these components will be combined in a microwave device. And if you have all these, a combination of the microwave devices and components, that complete circuit, you call it as a microwave network. Now, these microwave networks will be coupled together by the use of microwave transmission lines or the waveguides, so that for you get a desired transmission of microwave signal through the ports. Either it can be a 2-port network or some other networks, whichever we consider. So the point of intersection of two or more signals, devices, components, circuits, or modules, any signals which we take, or any devices which we take, any components which we take, the point of intersection of any of this is called as port, or we say it is simply a junction. So there is some point of contact happening between the signals or devices. That point of contact is called as port or simply a junction. Now, coming to the low frequency and high frequency components of the circuits. Now here, when you consider a low frequency network, so what happens is the input and output variables which you take there, that is voltage and current, which will be related to impedance. Impedance, we know it is actually Z parameter, or we relate it to admittance, which is Y parameter. Those are two things which you already know. So when there is a low frequency network, input and output variables will be voltage and current, which can be related in terms of impedance, that is Z parameters, admittance, Y parameters, as well as hybrid, that is H parameters. And you have one more parameter called as ABCD parameters. So there are 4 parameters to remember: Z parameter, Y parameter, H parameter, that is hybrid parameters, and ABCD parameters. So in this, a port is pair of terminals. Now, you should be knowing what is actually a port. So you'll have terminals in the circuit. So a port will be a pair of terminals. Physical length of the network what you take, or the length of the network what you take, it should be much smaller than the wavelength of the signal transmitted. Because you know, frequency is related to wavelength as f is equal to 1 by lambda. If your frequency is less, then only your wavelength will be more. Or if your frequency is more, wavelength will be less. So physical length of the network should be much smaller than wavelength of a signal transmitted. Coming to this concept, that a circuit operating at low frequency, for which circuit dimensions are small relative to wavelength. That itself is the physical length of the network is much smaller than the wavelength. So this again, it can be treated as interconnection of your passive and active components. What is an active and passive component? It's very basic. What is active and passive component?
Active are the one which have their own energy.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
passive which does not have their own energy.
Yeah. Can you give me an example?
Passive is like battery or which cannot store, like it needs a voltage, whereas active can be considered as capacitors, which has the capacity to store the energy.
Okay. The definition is correct. So passive devices, you can consider the resistor, inductor, capacitors. For active devices, you can consider your operational amplifier transistors, where your passive devices also come into effect. So these combinations of active and passive components, which will have unique voltages and current, for that there will be a particular point in the circuit which will be defined for operating for low frequencies. Now again, coming to the next case, when you consider at microwave frequencies. So in the microwave frequencies, the physical length of the component or line is comparable to or much larger than the wavelength. Whereas in case of low frequency, physical length will be relatively small. Whereas in case of microwave frequency, it is relatively larger than the wavelength. So voltage and current will not be well defined at the given point in a microwave circuit. You cannot go for such a large dimension length to measure the voltage and current. So what we'll be doing is, at a given point, so in a microwave circuit, you go for a waveguide system. So there will be a waveguide. I'll tell you what is actually a waveguide. So going for a waveguide system, what will happen is a port is a reference plane here, which will define the length of the microwave transmission line or waveguide. So in case of microwave frequencies, the circuit dimensions are small enough so that there are negligible phase change from one point to another, or the length of the circuit or the defined circuit will be comparable or much larger than the wavelength. Next, you have to define a two-port network now here. When you define a two-port network here, you will have to find out the relationship between Z, Y, H and ABCD parameters. Can anybody tell me how to define the Z parameters? You have already studied in network analysis. Two-port network. Anybody has any idea of how to write the Z port?
In terms of voltage and current.
Yeah, in terms of voltage and current. So you will have left-hand side with the voltage in a matrix form, which will be equal to Z parameters as well as your current. So here you will be applying certain equations. So for a two-port network, so what is a two-port network is? Again, it is a kind of a four-terminal. It is an electrical network or a device with two pairs of terminals to connect to external circuits. So you will have one line drawn. I'll show you how the two-port network will be. So it is like a four-terminal network. It is also an electrical network or a device. You will have two-port terminals or two terminals at the input, two terminals at the output. So which will connect your internal and external circuits. Now two terminals which will constitute a port, if the current is applied to that particular input or output, that should satisfy the essential requirement which is known as port condition. It can be like electrical current entering one terminal must be equal to the current emerging from other terminal on the same port. These are certain conditions. It changes according to your ports. Now port constitutes interfaces where the network connects to other network, the points where signals are applied or outputs are taken. In two-port network, port 1 is considered usually to be an input port and port 2 will be considered to be the output port. And two-port network model, it is used in mathematical circuit analysis techniques, mainly to isolate portions of larger circuit. If you have a larger circuit, you will make the partition so that the expression which you get or the degradation of the circuit can be done easily. A two-port network is regarded again as a black box with its properties specified by the matrix numbers. So this allows the response of the network to signal applied to the ports to be calculated easily, and it is easy without solving the internal voltages and current of the network. So these are certain properties which your two-port network is having. Then, now these are the two-port networks which are described in similar ways or many ways. When you define a Z parameters, see if this is the voltage V1 by V2, which will be input, Z11, Z12, Z21, Z22. So this is like port 1, it will be given the input, and port 1 only the output is taken. Similarly, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, and I1 and I2. So this is the normal representation of Z parameter. Similarly, Y parameter, it will be Y1, Y2, which is equal to Y11, Y12, Y13, Y14, V1 and V2 voltage. Similarly, you have to write for H parameters. So in H parameters, it will be like, if you're writing for H parameter, the equations will be with respect to voltage and current in such a way that for H parameter, it will be voltage V1 and I2 will be the current, which is equal to H11, H12, H13, sorry, H21 and H22 within a matrix. Again, the multiplied with I1 and V2. So this is for hybrid parameter or H parameter. ABCD parameter, it is V1, I1, which is equal to ABCD, and output will be with respect to or multiplied with voltage V2, I2. So this is ABCD parameters. Here you have, in case of Z1 and Z2, that is impedance as well as your admittance, you have Z11, Z12, Y11, Y12, which is in general said as Zij, Yij, or your ABCD. These are called as constants. And that characterize, this all will characterize a junction for ABCD, that is ABCD parameters. Now these are convenient to represent each junctions where you connect the number of circuits will be connected in cascade. Cascade is nothing but series. So if you have the cascade connections, so these parameters will be helpful to find out the convenient method of the network. The resultant matrix which describes the complete cascade connection for these three are, so if you are taking ABCD parameters, suppose this will be first parameter of ABCD in a matrix, and you have many of your ABCD parameters connected. So you can say that A1, B1, C1, D1. Similarly, like A2, B2, C2, D2. And similarly, till that last term, what you have, AN, BN, CN, DN. So ABCD parameters, if it is connected in a cascade, so it is easy to represent the larger network in case of cascade connections. So this will be the resultant matrix if you are connecting it in a cascade connection. Now you have, why you are looking into these equations is, these equations cannot be used for your microwave frequencies because these are not for the higher frequency networks. These are for very lower frequency networks, which you have seen in the network theory. So you have to find out the reason. There are certain following reasons why we cannot go for microwave frequency, why we cannot go for these parameters in case of microwave frequencies. Now the limitations. This is what the limitation is, why these parameters cannot be used in higher frequencies. Now if you consider the first thing in this as the reason, at low frequencies, physical length of the network is larger than wavelength of a signal. So this I have told you already. If you consider lower frequencies, wavelength will be larger. So the physical length of the network will be larger. Length will be comparing to the wavelength, it is larger. So therefore, the measurable input-output values of voltage and current can be analyzed in case of ABCD, Y, Z, H parameters, so that you can apply certain termination conditions and you can find out the output. So these parameters, you know, it is mainly analyzed in the way of considering the condition short circuit and open circuit condition. If you remember the network theory, how you had applied for this. So you are applying certain short circuit and open circuit condition for these kind of parameters. But what happens in microwaves is, in microwave, open or short circuit conditions are not possible or it cannot be achieved for terminating the active devices. So if you do the open circuit and short circuit conditions, it will damage the devices because of the total reflection of power back to the devices. There will be a power or the power will be reflecting back, which will be high, so that the devices will be damaged. So you cannot go for open circuit and short circuit condition in case of microwave devices. So these parameters will not be used. And the next reason is open and short circuit conditions usually result in oscillations if you are going for higher frequencies. For example, for active devices, you can consider transistor or negative resistance diode. So if you do the open circuit and short circuit conditions, the oscillations will be available, or oscillations will be coming for wide range of frequencies. Because if you consider the oscillator or RC phase shift oscillator or your Hartley oscillators, these oscillators will be giving you the oscillation based on two conditions of an Barkhausen criteria. That is, A beta is equal to 1, as well as the oscillation, the complete angle should be 360 degree or 0 degree. That too, if you only maintain the gain at A beta is equal to 1. If that is not satisfied in case of higher frequencies, you will be having the oscillations occurring. Either it will be an over oscillation or an under oscillation concept. So physical length of the component or devices at microwave frequencies should be comparable or much smaller than the wavelength. So here the voltage and current are not well defined. So you go for distributive analysis. So Z, Y, ABCD and H parameters will change the conditions for high frequencies. And again, capacitance will be coming into effect at higher frequencies. So you will not be going for Z, Y, ABCD and H parameters. So unavailability of equipment to measure. Since you are going for higher frequencies, this will be in terms of radio frequency or microwave frequencies. Now, to measure that, we don't have a particular equipment. So at low frequencies, these equipment will not be, the availability of equipment to measure this radio frequency or microwave frequency for total current and voltage is not possible. That is one more reason we cannot go for the ABCD, Z, Y, and H parameters. So what is the solution now? So since you are not going for these parameters, we will be considering input-output behavior of the network in terms of normalization. So everything in microwave will be in terms of normalized. So you'll be considering a normalized power wave where the ratio of the power waves will be recorded. So a different parameters will be coming into effect in microwave, which is called as scattering parameters. Now here, what happens in scattering parameters is you will be considering the input power as well as output power. These output as input powers will be measured in terms of ratio and recorded, which are called as scattering parameters. These scattering parameters are measured based on properly terminated transmission lines. Now, when I say properly terminated transmission lines, it doesn't mean how you do in low frequency, open or short circuit condition. You will be considering certain impedance. Using that impedance, you will be measuring the S parameters. Now, we can take an example of how the microwave network will be visible in terms of the S parameters. So you can draw the figure which I'll be telling, or which I'll be writing it here. So you need to define a microwave junction. Now this one, I'll be considering a microwave junction, which will be the combination of the microwave devices and components. So you'll have a microwave junction. To this microwave junction, I will be considering 4-port network now. So for a 4-port network, so suppose this is a port 1. This is port 1. Having an impedance Zij, that is 0, 1, I'll consider. Similarly, you will have port 2 here. So this will be a port 2 network. This will have an impedance Z02. Similarly, this will be port 3 having an impedance of Z03, and port 4, that is Z04, which will be your port 4. Now you need to define for this what is the input and what is the output. So for input, I'll consider the parameter as A1, which will be the entering. Now when it enters, some of the waves can also reflect, which I'll be considering it as B1. Similarly, for port 2, I'll represent it in terms of resistor. Okay. Port 2, you will have input coming, that is A2. Similarly, you should have the reflected one, which is B2. For port 3, it will be A3, which will be entering. The reflecting one is B3. Again, A4 will be entering. B4 will be reflecting. So here you are considering an interconnection of 4 waveguides, which will form a microwave junction. So here, when a microwave power is applied to port 1, a part of the power which will come out of port 2, that is this one, some power you are giving it here and some are returning back. And another is port out of port 3. So again here it will be entering, some are going outside of port 3. Again here some are entering, some are going out of port 4. So these all mismatches, like entering as well as the reflecting one, is mainly because of the impedance which you have taken, that is Z01. Because of the impedance or wave impedance of the junction, you will have this mismatch between the ports. So for one microwave power input to the junction, you can see now there are totally 4 possible outputs which are coming. So when the microwave power is applied to all four ports, totally how many combinations you have here now? Your microwave power is applied to all 4 ports here. Totally, how many combinations you will be getting with respect to A1, A2, A3, A4? How many combinations? There are total 16 combinations which will be coming. So you will be applying for this. If one port you are applying, you are getting total how much? 1 from this, 1 from this, 1 from this, 1 from this. So 4. Again, for port 2, if you apply, there are 3 ports coming. Again 4. For A1 it is 4. For A2 it is 4. For A3 it is 4. For A4 it is 4. So total there are 16 combinations coming in terms of the network. Now think of representing the 16 combinations in Z, Y, ABCD and H parameters. That means it is representing that in a matrix form will be difficult. So you will be going for a scattering matrix here, where the 16 combinations are represented in a matrix form with all the incident waves will be represented. Incident waves will be represented in row matrix and reflected waves will be represented in column matrix. So if you represent the parameters, that is incident wave in row matrix, reflected waves in column matrix, such a matrix is called as scattering matrix for a scattering parameters. And the elements of this scattering parameters which you take, these elements are called as scattering elements, or it is also called as scattering coefficients. I'll explain you once again. You will have a microwave junction, which is interconnection of these ports. So you are applying the microwave power to port 1. Some part of port A input will come out of port 2, another port out of port 3, and another port out of port 4. Remaining will come out of port 1 itself. So these output powers which are coming out is mainly because of the mismatch between your impedance. So one microwave power input to the junction, you will have 4 possible outputs. So when a microwave power is applied to all these 4 ports, you will have 16 combinations. One port will give you 4 possible outputs. So similarly, your 4 port will be giving you 16 possible combinations. These 16 possible combinations you have to represent in terms of a matrix. So row matrix will be represented for incident waves, which are your A1, A2, A3, A4. Reflected matrix, reflected waves will be represented in column matrix, which are B1, B2, B3, B4. So if you represent the row matrix and column matrix in terms of incident waves and reflected waves, such a matrix is called as scattering matrix. And the elements used in this matrix are called as scattering matrix, scattering parameters, or it is called as scattering coefficient. Is that okay? Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Now you have to consider one more example. So for this, to understand the scattering derivation. So now what I'll be doing is I'll be considering a figure where, like your normal microwave junction, which is again a port network, where I'll be taking the input, a source. So this will be your source which I'll be taking. And the line which I'll be considering, the nth line, the end line of your microwave transmission. Now this line, if I consider for a microwave length, you will have a second line, which is nothing but the Z0, which is terminated by an impedance. So this is one microwave transmission line which we have. Now the same line, the input what I give here is AI. Since you are considering ith line, similarly the reflected wave which I'll be considering is BI. Now I need to consider for say 3 ports. If I'm considering for 3 ports, I'll take the extension from here, that is for the input, from here to here. Now this line should have, or this line should be giving you one more port, which I'll be terminating with. It cannot be another Z0. It is something which is not equal to Z0 or which is not equal to Z line. This will be your first line which I consider. So the input to this will be A1. Similarly, the reflected will be B1. This is one line. Now suppose I need one more line to consider. I'll consider it here in the down. So one will be your input for port 2, which I have to take. And so this will be one more line, which is again terminated with either Z0 or which is not equal to Z0. So this will be this if I take as a second line, this will be your third line. So again, here also you need an input. So B1, if you see the previous figure, you had something like this. Here it is A1. This will be your reflected B2. This is A2. That means the opposite part will be the entering one. So here B1 will be connected to your A2. That means A2 will be entering, whereas the reflecting will be coming here. That is your B2. Now next again, if you want to consider one more line, you can consider here for A3. Similarly, your network structure will increase. So this is just an example how we are representing in terms of transmission line. So first, if you consider one source line, for this source line, I'll be taking from here, which is A1, which is one port. B1 is the reflected wave. From the B1, which is reflecting, you will be considering one A2, which is entering, B2, which is reflecting. One more, if you need, you can just consider here. Similarly, like how we have considered, just draw a parallel line and again consider it as Z0. The one which is entering, the reflecting will be B3, entering will be A3. Similarly, you can draw for different figure. So this will be the junction of n number of transmission lines. So just for an example, I have told you. Now for this, to derive an expression for your scattering matrix, so you need to write down the equation for the impedance, which is considered to be for reflection coefficient. So if you are writing for a scattering matrix, we will consider the incident waves, that is A1, A2, A3 until AN or AI. Similarly, B1, B2, B3 until BI. So transmission lines from 2 to N or transmission lines here from the 2 to nth term or the reflected term, these will be always terminated with Z0. In the figure, you had seen it is terminated with Z0, except that B1 line, which we will be considering ZL is not equal to Z0, because one line should not be one. All the lines, if you terminate, then there will be no reflected waves coming. So you will be considering ZL, Z0 for first line. Rest all the lines are terminated with Z0. So there will be a perfect matching and the waves will be completely absorbed without causing any reflections here. Therefore, the reflected waves what you have in B2 into the junction, that is from second line, B3 into the junction, this is from third line, and similarly it will go on until nth line. So since it is perfect matching, B2, B3, B4 until your nth value, it is equal to 0. Because all the impedance are, all the lines are terminated with Z0, this will have a perfect matching. If you have a perfect matching, the reflected waves will be always equal to 0. And now BI, you know, it will represent your reflecting waves coming from the source. Then B1 will be only the reflected wave, which is coming from first line. Whereas the first line is terminated by an impedance, that is your ZL is not equal to Z0. So what you will be writing, or how you will be writing the scattering matrix is BI, which is equal to, will be taking first B1, which is equal to reflection coefficient into your A1. That is, B1 is equal to, the reflection coefficient will be SI1, where 1 will be the input, for I will be the reflection coefficient going, input will be A1. Once again, I'll tell you, if BI, what you take, it is representing the wave going back to the source. I've shown you in the figure. So this was BI, which was source, and A1 was the input. So if BI is the reflecting wave going back to the source, so the contribution to BI will be only the reflected wave which is coming, that is from B1, because here it was connected. B1 was coming to your BI. So BI will be the first line because of the mismatch, and this is terminated with ZL is not equal to Z0. So BI will be equal to B1, which is the reflection coefficient coming as well as your incident wave. So B1 will be equal to the one which is the reflection coefficient or the incident wave which is given. I will be your reflection coefficient with respect to ith term. So where your SI1 will represent the reflection coefficient of first line due to the source connected at the ith line. So source is the ith line, reflection coefficient of first line due to the source connected to the ith line. So when I say I, it is source connected to ith line, but from one you are getting the reflection. So here SI1 means I will represent the reflected wave. This will represent your source. So you will have to write for different parameters like S11, S12, S13 like that. So you should remember the second one will represent your reflections or reflection from first line. This ith line, what I have given you here, it is the source which is connected to ith line. So when all the n-1 number of lines are terminated in an impedance other than which is Z0, then there will be reflection from all the lines. So you can write the total contribution to the outward traveling of the ith line due to mismatch, that is given by BI is equal to, starting from first line. Say it is S11, SI1, A1 is for first source 1, reflected 1. Similarly, SI2, source is I, reflection is from 2, that is A2. Source is I, reflection is from 3. Source, this incident is A3. Similarly, for nth term, it will be source I, reflection from nth line, and your incident is AN. So I can be any line which will take from I to N, which will allow the I to vary. So tell me what is the equation for B1 here? If I write for B1, I is equal to 1.
S11 A1 plus S12 plus A2.
Yeah, S11 plus S12, S1, S13, A3 until you take S1N, AN. You have to write a scattering matrix now. So if I consider for B2, it will be S21, A1, S22, A2. Yeah.
Mom, it's A2.
Yeah. S23, A3 plus until S2N, AN. Similarly, if I write for B3, it will be S31, A1, S32, A2 plus S33, A3 until S3N, AN. So on, you can write for how many matrix it will be mentioned. Last one, it will be BNN. It will be S11, SN1, A1, SN2, A2 plus SN3, A3 until the last term, that is SNN, AN. Now, how can we write for the matrix here? If I have to represent all these equations in terms of matrix, how can I represent in matrix? What should be the left-hand term should be coming in a matrix?
B1, B2, B3.
Yeah, it will be your B1, B2, all the reflected waves, that is B1, B2, B3 until Bn. Third, you have scattering coefficients S1, 1, S12, S13 until S1n, S21, S22, S23 until S2n, S31, S32, S33, S3n, and the last term SN1, SN2, SN3 until SNN, which is multiplied with incident A1, A2, A3 until AN. So here, in general, I can write the same equation as matrix B is equal to matrix S into matrix A. So this here, where your B will represent the column matrix corresponding to reflected waves, A will represent the column matrix representing incident waves, and your S will represent the scattering matrix corresponding to reflection coefficient, which is again n cross n matrix. When you consider the equation, so you have B is equal to S into A. B will represent reflected waves matrix. S will represent scattering matrix. A will represent incident matrix. Is that okay? So this equation you have to remember for the derivation of certain properties of scattering matrix. Is that fine? I hope it is clear. If not, you tell me, I'll explain you once again. We'll move on to certain properties of scattering matrix, or what actually scattering matrix is. Now, we have seen this already. S parameters are members of a family of similar parameters. So examples of different parameters are Y, Z parameter, H parameter, ABCD parameters. So they differ from these in sense that S parameters do not use open or short circuited condition to characterize the linear electrical network instead of matched loads which are used. And these terminations are much easier to use high signal frequencies than which you use for low frequencies. So quantities here are measured in terms of power. There are certain electrical properties of networks, components, which are inductor, capacitor, resistors, which will be expressed using S parameters, such as gain, return loss, voltage standing wave ratio, reflection coefficient, amplifier stability. For low frequency, how you make use of inductor, capacitor, resistors. Similarly, here also you'll make use of S parameters and find all these properties or all these variations. The term scattering is more common to optical engineering than radio frequency engineering, referring to the effect observed when a plane electromagnetic wave is incident on the obstruction or passes across the dissimilar electric media. So the scattering is mainly representing your reflection coefficient or reflected waves. So it usually comes in the field of optical engineering. So in context to S parameter, scattering parameters or scattering refers to the wave in which the traveling currents and voltages in a transmission line are affected when they meet a discontinuity caused by the insertion of the network in the transmission line. So you have seen now for ith line, I have added A1, A2, A3, that means 3 lines. So because of those discontinuity, you will have the problem of the reflection or the scattering occurring, which will cause certain parameters to occur in the transmission line. So this is equivalent to the wave meeting an impedance differing from the line characteristic impedance. So because of scattering, there will be variation in your ZL and Z0, which will be terminating at the load side. So here, at certain frequency which we consider, S parameter are mostly used for networks which operate for radio frequency, micro frequency, where signal power and energy consideration are more easily quantified than current and voltages. S parameter, which will change with respect to measurement frequency. So frequency must be specified for each of the S parameters with addition, that is your Z0 or the system impedance. S parameters are different. Again, you know, I have told you it is represented in terms of incident and reflected powers. S parameters are mainly used at ultra high frequency and micro frequencies, where it becomes difficult to measure voltages and current directly. So incident and reflected power are easy to measure using directional couplers. We will study what actually directional coupler in passive devices. So this is for a two-port network you are representing. The same general equation which you had written for n-port network, here it is written for 2-port, B1, B2, which are reflected. S11, S12, S21, S22 are scattering coefficients. A1 and A2 are your incident. So AK will represent incident waves, BK are reflected waves at port K, and it is conventional to define AK and BK in terms of square root of power, which will be next concept we will be studying. Consequently, there will be a relationship with voltages, and there are certain properties to study in scattering matrix. You have reciprocal network, symmetrical network, antimetrical network, and lossless reciprocal network. You have 4 different properties to study in scattering parameters. Now here, this is how we represent. Scattering parameters are measured by single frequency signal into a network, or it is called as black box. So you will measure power, voltage, current, which are considered to be in the form of traveling waves in both directions. So incident wave is given to, in the first figure, just incident wave is represented, which is given to port 1. Whereas when an incident wave is given to port 1, some part of the signal will be reflected out of the port and some portion of the signal will be transmitted from the other port. So when you give input to one port, the transmitted wave is coming from another port and the reflected wave is coming from the same port. So this is usual in all cases of the networks. So some part of the input will be reflected due to some mismatch and some part of the incident wave will be transmitted. So here, what actually S11 refers to is, I've told you already what is Sij or S1n, S2n. So S11 refers to the signal reflected at port 1 for the signal incident at port 1. So signal is reflected at port 1. Signal is also incident at port 1, that is S11. Whereas scattering parameter S11 is the ratio of 2 waves, that is B1 by A1. So which is the definition of the S11. So we will do it in the tomorrow's class. because you have to derive an equation for that. After deriving, you will be writing the scattering parameters. So all the equations where you have S11, S12, S13, S14, each term here will represent, the first term will represent the signal reflected at the port, and the second signal will be representing what is the signal incident at the port.